Hey, Chris Jenkins, credentialed member of the media covering the Carolina Panthers for Charlotte Vibe, a.k.a. Man of the People, here coming to you live after the Carolina Panthers' first preseason game. Final score in this game, got to tip the hat to Cleveland Browns as they were victorious. Cleveland Browns 30, your Carolina Panthers 10. But, you know, that was 30 unanswered points by the Cleveland Browns because the Carolina Panthers, when their starters were in, Browns had a mixed bag there. We were up 7-0, but again, the final score, Cleveland Browns 30, Carolina Panthers 10, and we're going to get into a lot of it. To the lineup for tonight's show, we're going to play the intro for Coach Dave Canales as he talks about the game and a little bit of the Xavier Legette scuffle rumble in the jungle that took place tonight, as well as then we're going to go over some great game day photos. Our team photographer, hats off to that guy. Nails it every game with some excellent photographs from the game, so we're going to go over that, go over some stats, and then we're going to dive into a little bit of my analysis of not the entire game. We won't do that tonight. We'll do another video, but we'll go through my entire analysis of the starters on the offensive side, the defensive side, and then we'll touch on Shedeur Sanders just a little bit as well. So, hey, thank you all so much for tuning in. As always, we're getting closer and closer to that 20,000 subscriber mark. As you know, independent media, 100% supported by you guys. So I just only need earlier. The numbers may be changed, but I want to get to 13,000 subscribers tonight. And let me just step to the side for a second. We're here on the field, post-game show, live, and we're going to take your questions. Nobody else does that. If that's not worth your subscription, I don't know what is, all right? So, and it's something that we do after every game, all right? So for those people that are new, because we're growing a lot, just want to say each and every game day, there's a pregame show 2 hours before, keeping you up to date on Twitter during the game, and postgame, typically about an hour after the game ends. We're down here on the field giving you the recap for the game. Shouts out to Mike Long and also to Panthers Boy 803. All right, let's go ahead and first, let's go ahead and play Dave Canales as he sums up his take on the game tonight, as well as the Xavier Legette. And, of course, that didn't do what I wanted it to do. Let's see if I can get this going for you guys properly this time. All right. Here we go. We got what we want this time.
Sometimes ball gets pretty simple, 2 turnovers. They had 8 explosives. We had 4. 2 of ours got called back for penalties. So I think we were even in terms of numbers of penalties, but it was when they happened that really just put us in a bad spot early on. And then, I thought they did a great job just getting on the edge. Shedeur extending plays, finding guys down the field. And then even Huntley comes in, and makes a couple of plays with his legs. They were able to continue some drives. I thought they did a great job. I was proud of our group, played physical, some great running and hitting happened all across, so really proud of the play style, but part of our play style is playing smart. I didn't feel like we did that. I felt like there was sloppiness, in some of the drives, and we're looking at 1st and 15s, and we're looking at some situations like that, so we gotta take that, look at it and make sure that we're continuing to coach the technique better in some of those situations. Yeah, I was like right in front of it. We asked our receivers to finish the play with hands on. He had his hands on the guy the whole time through the echo of the whistle.
All right, 1 second. You guys are witnessing some live mistakes. Give me just a second. We're going to go through it. Oh, boy. All right, so we're going to skip over that. I knew that would be a little risky because of how I had to try to show that through YouTube. But basically, Dave was talking about the game itself. Shedeur kind of doing some things, but again, the Carolina Panthers, in my opinion, for the starters, did okay. We're going to get into that a little bit deeper here in just a second. But he talked about the Xavier Legette scuffle and basically saying, hey, number one, first and foremost, we don't do that. Both those guys were kicked out and deservedly so. Hadn't had a chance to talk to Xavier because after the, talking to the whole team, then has to come and do his press conference. But said, they teach their receivers, the Carolina Panthers, their receivers, to finish the whole play. And just felt like the opposing player, Jenkins, on the other side, didn't handle it well. And then, Xavier starts throwing the punches that he threw. Now, I will point out that's of interesting note is saw this firsthand earlier this week during practice when they had the joint practice with the Cleveland Browns. Chuba had a run, and at the end of the run, Chuba and Jenkins were jawing at each other. And then Chuba just hands the ball to Jenkins and walks away. Jenkins follows him to the huddle. And as he's following him, you're thinking, okay, what is he about to do? Why is he following Chuba? And then he just winds up and he kind of waits for it, throws the ball at the back of Chuba, hitting him in the helmet. There's a little scuffle that time. So I don't know the history of this Jenkins guy very well for the Cleveland Browns, but obviously he's a guy that seems like he might antagonize people, and tonight that's what happened. Xavier Legette definitely, knew he was going to be kicked out, may miss a game, but whatever happens, we'll continue to report on that directly to you guys for that. Now let's go ahead and get into next part of the show. And that are going to be some photographs from our great photographer, Patrick Snyder. So we're going to show these photographs to you in no particular order. Hopefully you will enjoy. So let's go ahead and take a look. And by the way, for those of you that enjoy these photographs, each and every Sunday, after the game day, the next game day, we put up a lot more pictures on our Instagram. So all of our social media is Charlotte Vibe. So check us out on Instagram if you like the photographs to see some more. We're going to go ahead and take you through a few tonight from the game from Patrick. Nice end over end kind of play there by the running back. One of the few times that Bryce Young was knocked down. I believe this was early on in the game. Bryce did get a sack early on in that first series. That first series for the Carolina Panthers certainly did seem like a let's get the dust knocked off. But a very good photograph there. Game started at 7 o'clock, so it is nighttime now, but when we first started, it was a very pretty day out here in Charlotte, and this is when Shedeur Sanders is back at quarterback. You see the crowd tonight. Very, very respectable crowd for a preseason game, number one here in Charlotte. Good to see that crowd looking like it was. And then, as you see right now, it's nighttime. Here's a nice photograph of the stadium from inside. Very good artistic photograph by our photographer there. And then this happened here throughout the game. And this is Shedeur Sanders scrambling. And the way that this guy scrambles, he's not looking to run the ball down the field. He's just looking to buy some time, get someone open. He's going to have to work on that scrambling a little bit as well. This right here, folks. Hold on, I got to sneeze. 1 second. All right, you guys are getting all the action tonight on my live shows. Thought I had to sneeze and it wouldn't come out. But Jalen Coker on a play that unfortunately ended up not counting. But Jalen Coker with a beautiful one-handed catch. And you see here the beautiful thing. He didn't even grab it cleanly, but he still tucked it in. And as you can see there with his opposite arm holding the defender off, that was a beautiful play. Unfortunately, there were two penalties on that, one by the offense, one by the defense. Actually ends up making it, I think it was 3rd and 20 or 2nd and 20. It didn't count, but Jalen Coker still got lots of props from his colleagues for making that great catch, which it was. And guess what? He was rewarded later on in the game here, getting a touchdown. So just a quick pause, right, in the action. There was questions. Would Jalen Coker make this team? Is he good enough? He's an undrafted free. And it's legitimate. This wide receiver room is deeper than it's ever been. But Jalen is showing you like, yeah, I'm gonna make the team, guys. Gonna make the team. But nevertheless, Jalen Coker celebrating after his touchdown catch. Tetairoa McMillan with the catch here. Tetairoa having a good time. Congratulations to him, man. I can't imagine what it's like to be drafted into the NFL, get your first game in the league, and it is under the lights. So Tetairoa here, all smiles pregame. And then Jimmy Horn Jr. Jimmy Horn Jr. showing some low speed agility here. Shedeur getting knocked down by that Carolina blue defense. And this here is, it looks like Shedeur doing some kind of basketball fake behind the back pass here. But I think this was just him when he was reversing field. As you see, there's 3 guys in blue chasing him down there. Shedeur definitely did a lot of scrambling tonight to buy this team some time. And this is, I'm going to assume this was post-game as fans were trying to get autographs. I really feel like this would have been for Shedeur, in which the fans were trying to wait and get some autographs for. And then I see some of the comments here talking about, hey, I was disappointed with Xavier. And this is part of that sequence with Xavier. As you see here, he's now fallen down to the ground. And that's part of the scuffle that took place tonight. So Shedeur dropping back. And then I'm back. So just noticed that my battery life on my laptop is a little low, so I may have to speed it up a little bit. But here's what I'm going to do anyway. The plan tonight was just to go over the starters and then do another video this week. So please continue to subscribe to the channel, turn on your bell notifications, and we'll have some more content for you guys to go in a much deeper dive from the game tonight. But we are going to go through some things. And did I give a shout out to all my members? I think I did. Yep. And always, if you want to help support us, super chats are always welcome. Memberships are open. We're 100% supported by you guys, so anytime that you have the opportunity to do that, it is more than appreciated. Let's go ahead and jump through some of the stats really quickly here as well, and then we're going to get into some analysis. Our leading rusher was Imani Bailey with 21 yards. Rico Dowdle with 7. Chuba with 10. Not a lot of running tonight, right? Receiving. We did have, indeed, a lot of receiving. Our leading receiver was Tetairoa McMillan. And, honestly, that all came with Bryce Young back there at the helm in those first 2 series, and specifically coming on that second series. Followed up by T.J. Luther and then some other guys there. I'll let you guys dive that in. Again, I'm going to have to speed up a little bit because I did not charge my laptop, and I don't want to run out of juice here on the show. Bryce Young, 4 out of 6, 1 TD. Very solid night for Bryce Young. 137 passer rating. Really, really good. Jack Plummer comes in, 6 of 10 with an 85. And then Andy Dalton, due to that interception, really brought down his passer rate. But otherwise, a pretty respectable night by Andy Dalton. 13 of 19, 101 yards. Check down Andy, right? Better safe than sorry. 5.3 yard average. But there you go. So overall for the night, the quarterbacks were 23 of 35 for 238 yards. And let's not forget about the defense, right? Because we got to improve on that defense. Here you go. Mike Reed leading with tackles. Lathan Ramson, DJ Johnson as well coming right behind him. A couple of guys had multiple sacks. DJ Johnson. I'm sorry. I was looking at the wrong stat. Guys that had stats. Damani Richardson, sacks. Guys that had sacks. Damani Richardson. Thomas Nkoum and Nick Scorton all having some sacks tonight. So those are your look at the stats. Let's go ahead and jump into my analysis of this game from tonight, all right? We're going to start with the defense that went first. And we do have a lot of new pieces on the defense tonight. Compared to the offensive side, we got Nick Scorton. I'm just going to talk about the free agents, but we have Bobby Brown. I'm just going to talk about the new additions that are on the starting side for the defense. So on the defense, the new additions on the starting side, nose tackle Bobby Brown, edge rusher Turk Wharton, linebacker Pat Jones, linebacker Christian Roseboom, and safety Trevon Morrig. So those were the new pieces here. Lots of new pieces on the defensive side, not so much on the offensive side. On that first offensive sequence, the Browns went 3 and out. Actually, both offenses went 3 and out their first time up. But for me, what stood out about that first 3 and out by the Cleveland Browns was the play of Christian Roseboom, who is now in for the sheriff. Gosh, Josie Jewell, who's no longer with the team. He was cut before training camp really started, and Christian has come in his place. Had a pretty good night. Again, on that first series, the Cleveland Browns went 3 and out, and Christian made 2 of 3 tackles during that first series. The second series that they came out, the Browns had a little bit more success, but it wasn't like it was success due to those guys just marching down the field. It was really success based off a few 10-plus yards kind of plays. I don't want to say chunk plays. They weren't that big, but they were enough to get the Browns the first down. One time, Shedeur hitting a receiver about 12 yards down the field to get them a first down. And then the next time, Shedeur using his feet, scrambling, buying some time and making a completion and getting a first down. And after that, outside of those 2 kind of like semi-chunk plays, the Browns basically went 3 and out. When they weren't able to get a big play, they didn't go anywhere and went total on that play. Now, it wasn't a 3 and out total, but overall they had about 35 yards to gain on that play or that series before they had to punt, and then the Panthers had the ball. So let's go ahead and talk about Shedeur since he went first, since I'm talking about the defense. Shedeur, I want to say looked pretty good. And I'm going to say here's the context for looking pretty good. He was picked in the 5th round. He was told that he was not going to start. And he had, up until a couple of days ago, not even got most of the reps with the first team. He's just getting reps with, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, right? And I don't even believe, because I couldn't watch it during joint practices, I don't even believe that Shedeur got a lot of reps with the ones in the joint practice here in Charlotte anyway. So for it to be basically short notice that you're going to be a starter, for you to not have lots of reps with the starters, you're a rookie. He did pretty good. So, had some completions, did a good job of buying time with his feet. Now, the one detail about him buying time with his feet was that a few times he just ran backwards too far. And, by the time that he was out of danger, he now has to throw the ball probably 40 yards just to even get it back to the line of scrimmage. So that's something, he's a rookie, first game of the pros, I'm sure he's going to work on and get better at. Another thing that I noticed is that there was a few times where he had a guy that was maybe 15 yards down the field that he scrambled out or rolled out to get open and get in position to hit the guy. And it's a play that you need a little bit of touch, on the ball. And Shedeur did not have that touch on the ball. I feel like those are pretty simple things. Could have even been nerves for him to work out. But I know Shedeur is a polarizing player, so I did want to spend a moment talking about how he looked for the Cleveland Browns. Now let's go to the other side of the ball. Let's go to the offense, where for the most part, everything's the same. Your offensive line returns everybody, including their depth. All your receivers are pretty much the same. Your running back's the same. Now your backup's different. But the biggest change is the addition of first-round draft pick Tetairoa McMillan. And so I said, and I will continue to say with Tetairoa, be patient. Don't get disappointed if the guy drops a pass. Don't get disappointed if he gets out-bodied, because it's going to be a process. And it seems like he knows that it's going to be a process. His colleagues talk about how he wants to learn, how he's always asking questions, and he's trying to work to get to where he needs to be. Even with the physicality part in practice, Dave Canales has made sure that the defense pressed him a lot. So I've seen him every day in practice, and he's good, but he's still developing. So what happened tonight? Well, you saw exactly what I thought you would see. Some inconsistencies from Tetairoa in his play. But you saw some good things as well. So first series, did not get any pass attempts. That second series, Bryce actually targeted Tetairoa on half of his passes. And T-Mac, I'm going to call him T-Mac for now. T-Mac was 2 of 3 on those. Really should have caught all 3. He dropped 1, and that's part of the learning curve that I'm talking about. But he was 2 of 3. And so I feel like there was some intentional targeting from Dave in that regard. And obviously Bryce and Tetairoa seems to be having some chemistry because Tetairoa played, I don't know the exact length, but he certainly played the entire first half and had Andy Dalton in there. But when Andy was in there, no targets. He only got targets from Bryce Young. And I also noticed this one thing, that they're only having Tetairoa line up on the left-hand side. I didn't see him moving all across the field. Jimmy Horn Jr. saw him moving around some other players. I saw them moving around. But Tetairoa, I did not see moving around too much, or really at all. But that second series for the Carolina Panthers, 9 plays, 73 yards, and about 4.5 minutes on the drive. Dave Canales had seen enough at this point, getting his targeted 10 plays for the offense and also doing the same with the defense. Taking those guys out and giving them a break. So that's going to be your summary for tonight for this recap. Again, final score in this game, Cleveland Browns 30, Carolina Panthers 10. Next week, they'll take on the Houston Texans. That's going to be a Saturday game, 12 o'clock Central, 1 o'clock Eastern. We will be there covering that game. They will also have a joint practice against the Houston Texans. We'll be covering that for you as well. So make sure, hey, stay tuned, stay locked. We're going to be your source for news and best content for the Carolina Panthers. Any questions that you guys have, please let me know. Again, I did not charge my laptop, so I only got time for about 1 or 2 questions here before I want to get out of here and make sure that the video doesn't die on you guys. Let's see what questions we have. All right. This team did not look good tonight. Starters looked fine. It's the backups that didn't look good. But we'll get into that. We'll get more to that. David Chisholm was disappointed in special teams. So, yeah, we did have a special teams blunder. I think it was let me go to my notes here because I do have that in my notes, that special teams play. I think it was give me 1 second, see if I can. Yeah, so Trevor Etienne was bumped into by his own player, Nick Scott, and that created the turnover. Well, not necessarily exactly a turnover, but that gave the Cleveland Browns, what am I saying, not exactly a turnover. That was a turnover, giving the Cleveland Browns a short field in which they did score. So, yeah, some disappointment there on the special teams. Absolutely. M-Mo saying, Tet was a little disappointing tonight. I hope he does get better next game. So, yeah, we can definitely go into this a lot more. But, again, I've said it during a pregame show. I'll say it now. This guy, Tetairoa McMillan, has a lot of potential. He's a hard worker. He's also a rookie. 6 months ago he was in college. This is the NFL. There's a lot to learn. There's a lot of difference. And it's not like in college that he was some one-of-a-kind head and shoulders above the rest of the competition. He was great. But I'm just saying he wasn't like this, once every 10 years kind of wide receiver where you felt like he could come to the NFL and then immediately explode. There's going to be a learning curve. There was a play in which I saw McMillan just, get bullied a little bit, got knocked on his butt. Why? Well, he's probably still just not used to all the differences between playing at the college level and the pro level where things are more physical. Everybody's more fast. The game's played a little differently. So it's going to take him a little bit of time to get used to that. And I'm not worried about where he is right now. But these inconsistencies that you guys are seeing for the first time tonight, it's what I've seen in practice before. So it's nothing new and something that I expected. See if we can find one more question before I get out of here. Again, subscribe to the channel. Subscribe. We really appreciate it. We keep growing. We keep being able to do more things. All right. Just saying. Grayson is tearing up the comments. I appreciate you, Grayson. All right. We'll end on this one here. Grayson, you got to subscribe and become a member. I do try to answer everybody's questions, and I'm not saying you have to become a member. But if you do have a lot of questions, you want me to be able to get to more of them, I do give some preference to those members that are supporting the channel to take that extra time to answer as many questions as I can. But does Shedeur belong? You saw it live. So far, yeah. So far, yes, he does. Again, given the context that he didn't know he was going to start, he hadn't been practicing with the ones, and essentially he got thrown out there to start his first NFL game. Quite different again from college. Same thing I said with Tetairoa. Takes a little bit of time to get used to. He wasn't throwing interceptions. He wasn't fumbling the ball. He wasn't looking like the moment was too big. Those are reasons that I say, yes, he does belong. And he used his legs to get open, buy some time. He can fine-tune that as he gets more practice and watches more game film. But, yeah. So, everybody, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm Chris Jenkins, live from Bank of America Stadium. I'll be live from every stadium after every postgame, so please subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend. Help us grow, help us reach 20,000 subscribers. I'm Chris Jenkins for Charlotte Vibe from Bank of America Stadium.